Welcome, Facebook. Welcome, universe. Welcome, all beings of love and light, and everyone who wants to join me on AwakenSex. Yes, we're allowed to be a few minutes past this linear Gregorian calendar time. Hello, Sam's in the house. Welcome, Sam. Blessings, blessings. So let's just allow people to arrive. My name is OnaRay, and this is AwakenSex. How are you feeling, everyone? I'm feeling yummy and on fire, and I'm wearing my red, my Kale Durga fire. We're going to transform the energy of how we connect to our sex. And what does that mean? Who are you as a sexual human being? So this is the fourth broadcast. We're on a voyage. It's a 6-week journey. And this journey is to rediscover who you are as a sexual human being by going back to your beginning, to your birth, to how maybe you were conceived and in the womb and how you developed, and this birth canal that you came through, this initiation that you came through. So we're going to continue. And what happened, this is the fourth one. So we've gone through the birth. We've gone through the beginning where we discovered we have genitals. And then if you're a boy in a male body, you were born with an outie. Your energy directs outward. Then you have an innie. If you have a female body like me in this incarnation, I have an innie. I have an innie body. Yes. Hello, this is my body. And my energy is in. I have a womb. I'm able to create life in my womb. And then we discovered that we're different. Boys are boys. They have a different energy, different hormones. We start out with these hormones and puberty. And remember puberty? So this journey has been this evolution of you. And with this journey, so we have puberty. And then where we are right now. What happens after puberty? As a female and innie, I have breast. So I begin to be, wow, I have these breasts. And then boys who have the outie, they realize this magic. One morning they wake up and they're like, oh, they notice their energy is out and something happened. They ejaculated, they created sperm. The magic of sperm, that's the potency. That's what creates life. And as innies, we were like, wow, the first time we bleed, how powerful that is. And then we talked about last week, 2 weeks ago. So this segment has been every 2 weeks, the first and third of every Friday. And this journey of like, wow, what happens when we first realize that we have this power to create life? As an outie, as the boys, their ability to ejaculate, to create this energy, where does it come from, this magic? And then they can shoot it out. It can go out of their body to come inside, into the vagina, into the womb, if that's their choice, into a female body, where I'm sitting there with my fertile egg, ready to be fertilized, to create life in my womb. And it's all prepared. It's got the veins, and the placenta is getting ready, and it's all right there to create life. So this journey today is, what do we do with this energy of creation that we have? You know, it's a life force energy. We all have this potential, this life force, and we feel it pulsing inside of us. So today, let's just drop in for a moment. I like to just bring people into their bodies. So I invite us to just take a moment to feel this energy, feel this life force that's you. And it's how we direct this energy is really how we define ourselves as a sexual human being. Okay? So Sam is here. Who else is joining me? I have Arthur, a few others. So just take a second. So we're going to take a moment, just a minute. And I like to do a little shaking. And sometimes we just need to shake. So let's just take a moment, dropping into our feet to the earth. And I really invite you, if you're just in a place where you can do this, even if you can't make a lot of noise, you can still just drop in and close your eyes. We're just gonna like shake ourselves alive, shake ourselves awake. The Osho meditation. You can raise your hands up overhead. And just feel it. Feel ourselves shaking. We're shaking. Shaking it up. Shaking up this energy, this life force, this kundalini from the root down below. We've done this. We've held on to our genitals. We've touched our perineum. And just bring this energy up. Up the Sushumna, up the channel through the chakras. And feel it come up. And even make a sound. Let's do a few breaths with that. Taking that breath down into our lower chakras, down into our root. And take a deep breath in. And then, if it feels good, you open the mouth and you allow an ah. Ah. 2 more times. Ah. What needs to come out? What maybe you've been holding on to and you've been squeezing. You want to let it out. I invite you, let's all let it out. Shoo it out. Ah. And just notice. Just feel your body, feel the sensations. Notice the felt sense, we call it. Coming into our body, becoming embodied. Tapping into what's alive in our human body in this moment. And maybe even give yourself a little loving touch. You know, we are all on this sexual human journey together. And for me, AwakenSex is giving ourselves permission to fully accept and fully relish and be in this juice, this energy, this life force, to find out the potential of what we can do with it. What magic can we create with the intent of how we direct this energy? How we move, transform, how we move this energy throughout our whole being. Instead of allowing the sexual energy just to stay in the genitals, how do we move and harness this energy and let it feed every cell in our body, nourish us, bathe us? And so today in part 4, yes, this is real and live. There is no script. I'm just here channeling, and I'm going to be here to share my truth, my wisdom of this journey of sex, that 3-letter word that we never have talked about, human to human. It's been the last 2,000 years with this religion, dogma, suppression, control. It's been kind of put under the rug, put in the closet, not really expressed and honored and cherished to recognize that our potential is what we do with this energy and how we direct it. So that we're going to explore that today. If we can go back, so we've been going back, and that's AwakenSex is an adult online education platform where you get to go back in time, go back into the essence of you and how you connected to your sex, to your genitals, how you recognize yourself, and what you do with this energy, how you move it, play with it, share it, how you create magic with it. So let's go back to the beginning, you know. We use a lot of labels. We use ways to define ourselves and describe ourselves that can be limiting and very negative, you know. And as innies and outies, you know, the Venus, the Mars, the boys and the girls, I really believe we're coming together, you know, in this beautiful alchemy. And that's what I am. Feminine, masculine, this inner marriage. But even if we have these different elements and characteristics inside of us, I'm still walking this earth, this planet, and people perceive me and they see me as female because I have breasts. They're not a D cup, but they're plump and they're beautiful and they're my breast. And yes, I have mammary glands. I can feed and nourish life with my breast. That's what they're for. That's what they're here. And they also feel good and they're beautiful. And I also have, you know, these hips, these womanly hips, you know, and then the booty, you know, and I got this body that when I walk around, you know, the opposite sex, other humans, men will look at me and might have desire. They might have arousal. They notice me as something different than them, something that intrigues them. I'm in Oaxaca right now. So Oaxaca is this beautiful, old, ancient, traditional village, you know, in about 7 hours south of Mexico City. And it's Mayan-rich culture, indigenous cultures, different traditions. But if you look at the way, the color, the pigment, there's not very many blondes here or blue eyes. I'm taller than a lot of the men here. So I'm perceived as different. I'm exotic. I'm a foreigner. I'm something different. So in this differentness, this creates arousal. So after puberty, what happens is you have these sex hormones in your body. Men can ejaculate, women are now hormonal, meaning that we get PMS, we get menstrual cramps. As young girls, it can be very painful. And our bodies are different. We have breast. My reproduction is inside my body. That's why I call myself an innie. Men are the outie. And what happens is law of attraction. Something comes in and we notice that we have difference. And that difference is alluring. It creates arousal. It creates desire. So what is this desire that we notice? And how do we define ourselves with this desire, you know? So it's really quite intense and really quite sad where we are right now for me. We're going to explore these labels. Like as a woman, I'm going to start with me because it's quite intense. To be a woman and walk this earth can be fucking frustrating and scary. And I want to be able to walk the street and feel safe. I want to be able to walk where I don't feel I get cackled. How many times have I walked the street and the boys across the way are like, hey, honey, hey, baby face, you want to come sit on my face? Oh, you're looking good tonight. Ooh, I could just eat you up. And yeah, I mean, I'm like, okay. As a Western woman, educated from Los Angeles, where I feel very independent in my power, that is like revolts me. I mean, I want to push that away. A man could come up to me and say, wow, what a beautiful goddess you are. I am just an armor with your beauty. I would love to get to know you. And yes, I might want to touch your breast. And yes, wow, wouldn't it be amazing? It would be honored to touch your beautiful body and to see you naked. That would give me a lot of pleasure. And I would be, wow, there's a conscious awakened man. So this is what we're going to talk about. Awaken sex is also understanding how we define ourselves and what do we do with this energy and the words. What words are we using? So in school, when you grow up, if you're a girl like me and you decide, wow, I really like sex. I have this innie and I have this vessel and I like to open my legs and I want to know what it feels like to have a cock and to be penetrated. And so if I own it like this, 20 years ago, I grew up in the 80s, where we were still really a lot more repressed than we are now. Girls in their 20s are a lot more empowered to express their sexuality. there was a lot of shaming going on. And so words like, ooh, you know, if I start to like play around and, you know, pick the boys and I want to allow my to ravish me and enjoy my body, because I enjoy my body and the pleasure and to own my pleasure, words like slut might come into the radar. In school, there's a lot of slut shaming that happens, and I really feel for the young girls for generations and generations. We have been shamed for owning our sex, for feeling good with our body, and to be able to show our body by even lowering my shirt like this. Some people would say I'm a slut, and that's very slutty. She must be a whore if she wears clothes like that. So I really want us to sit with these words. They define our reality. They say the language we use, the words we use, define our reality. And what reality are we creating? What beauty are we creating around our sex? So other words, you know, like a word that always bothered me, and I never really knew why, but now I embrace it. I think it's a powerful word. And I'll use it in a positive way, not a derogatory way, is the word cunt. In the Oxford Dictionary, I went when I was researching it, because a lot of the priestess work that I do, we understand that it's not a negative word. I love my cunt. I love my pussy. I love my yoni, my sacred nest. And all it really means is great valley, fertile valley. That's what cunt means. If you go on top of a hill and you're in England back in the day, you'd be like, oh, what a beautiful cunt. But in the West, in the States, when I grew up, it's a derogatory word. Most women don't want that word. And if you don't like another sister and you might have negativity and she may have fooled around with your boyfriend, quote unquote, you would call her a cunt. What a fucking cunt, we might say. Or a boy in the locker room to another guy to put him down and make him feel small and powerless. We would call him a cunt. He must be a cunt, or a pussy. That one actually bothers me more, when another man calls another man pussy. Because it's saying that you are no longer powerful. You're like a girl. You're weak and powerless. So the language we use defines our reality. And what is the sexual reality? The sexual blueprint that we hold, our foundation with our lives. You know, whore is a really, the sacred whore is a word that I've used to represent myself, because to me, that means I embody the goddess principles of sacredness, sacred sexual healing, of love. It was the sacred whore that built the love temple, and we would make love. We would go and have sexual intercourse to generate love in the world. There's, the books, there's like a lot on the sacred whore. There's a lot on, let me just pull this up. There's many people that have been writing, and it's just coming out. It's these terms that we never would use in the past, and now we're starting to use, The psychologist Nancy Quilla Corbett wrote The Sacred Prostitute, and she begun this research, and she wanted to explore why. What is the shaming that we have around women who are empowered with their sexuality and find the beauty and the healing for what can happen when we allow ourselves to be what I call in the love temple. Our body becomes a vessel of love. She went around and she understood that she investigated the historical accounts of sacred prostitutes, the goddess role in the lives of ordinary people in ancient civilization, and the sacred sexual ceremonies that were enacted in this temple of love. But most of all, she wanted to know, why do these rituals go away? And what would happen if we reclaim some of these ancient rituals? And that's what the Tantra temples do. You know, that's what the Tantra work that I'm in is, we're ritualizing connection. We're ritualizing life and creating beauty in life. So as a female, as an innie, often in the West, in the last 2,000 years, under this dogma and this Christian overarchy way of being that controls our morality, I was slut shamed. And many of my friends, and still today, it's been hundreds of years, any woman who stands up and claims her power and feels her power, and the power we have as innies, as women, is this sexual power, this magnetism, the beauty, because our connection to the earth, and all the potential, the Shakti energy of creation. And so slut shaming, you know, it's just wild. How often girls have been, you know, if she does find a boy, she's in high school, you know that scenario, and we've all been there, and there's been a lot of movies and talking about it, where it happened to me too, you know, you see the boy in the locker room, and you're like, wow, you know, he's so hot, he's so cute. I really want him to like me. I'm gonna be his girlfriend. I want to be his girlfriend. And he comes up to me and he asks me out, and I'm like, okay. And then there's that party, that wild party we might go to, and he brings me upstairs into the bedroom, and he says, oh, and he jumps on top of me without really asking me. So now there's consent issues. We realize how often, you know, it's never happened. Girls have not been asked what they want. They have not been given the power to make choice on what they want to do with their body and how they want to work with the sexual energy, you know. And this energy, the boy is like aroused. He sees my different parts. He sees me like, breast. I wonder what her breast looks like with the shirt off, when she starts to show a little skin, you know, and that feels good. And he's curious. So we're in the room, and he's already aroused. He's already got a cock on, because he hasn't been trained or taught or really understood how to work with this energy. Because when you're young, you're vital. You have so much life force, you have more than you can handle. And he's got so much pressure in his pants, and he wants to do something with this pressure. So he sees me and he gets excited, and I'm like, I want connection. I want him to like me. I really want him to like me. How many of us can relate to that? And then he brings me into the bedroom, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I want the embrace, you know. And as innies, you know, the feminine is very soft. She likes to go slow generally, and she wants to be honored, you know. We want to be seen and felt. We want to feel that we are valued. And a lot of this connection, and why I want him to like me, is to feel my value. And that's where we're at. I haven't, as women, as females, we haven't fully embraced our own power on our own. So we're in the room, and he's aroused, and this is what happens, and this is where sex happens. He jumps on top of me, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe I've been told, no, I can't do this. I was raised Mormon. I'm not supposed to have sex out of wedlock. I'm 17 years old. I don't know if I'm supposed to let you enter my temple, penetrate me. And then all of a sudden, it happens. I allow him to go inside of me. But I didn't have my yes. I wasn't sure. I didn't know. I just wanted him to like me. I just wanted to feel the connection. And then it happened. And all of a sudden, my virginity, my holy, sacred purity, that is the value of my wealth, of my worth, that a lot of times that's what we know. That's what we've been taught. This is a mean that we've accepted. And now I've given my virginity. I've given this sanctity. I've had communion with another. And so what happens then? All of a sudden, he looks at me and he's like, puts his pants up and he said, oh, thank you. And he walks away. Or maybe he doesn't say thank you. What happened with me, he was like, oh, we shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, I gave you my virginity. I want to be your girlfriend. And he's like, I already have a girlfriend and we shouldn't have done that. I want you to leave. He asked me to leave. What does that make me feel? How did my temple, how did my value with myself? And so this is what really we have to really address and start to have the conversation. I invite us to re-educate ourselves on what happened. Who are we as sexual human beings? What happened to our past who now controls my behavior and who I am as an adult right now? The unconscious parts of me that I've denied and the shame that I put in my body for maybe giving up my virginity, my allowing myself, my legs to open. You know, what shame have I given myself to opening my legs? And I'm like, I now encourage and I invite women to be proud and open up their legs, to release the shame, the slut shaming. So what happened after that time for me, this is my journey, is I was like, wow, I already gave my virginity. What is my value? But I'm gonna see what it's like to have pleasure. Just to own my pleasure. And instead of worrying about what society thinks and my religion, and I had friends in the Mormon religion. I had my best friend. The next day I went to school, to church. And I told her, it happened. I opened my legs. I allowed a man. I had sex. And we don't even really have a true divine definition of sex. And that was another conversation we've had. It was, what does sex mean? What is truth? What is real sex? What is sex? But he entered me. And I'm no longer a virgin. And she was like, that was one of the sins. That's the sin. I'm no longer able to be her friend. She walked away from me and no longer wanted to be my friend. And so this is the journey of awakened sex, is me awakening and be like, okay, I've been on this journey of awakening into my sex as an innie. And what have I learned? What is this vision that I'm holding? And it's us to re-educate ourselves and to create an education that is holistic and beautiful and conscious, that goes beyond borders, race, cultural norms, religion, dogma, all of this. So we can really start to embrace the power and the beauty of who we are and the potential of what we can do with this creative juice, this sexual juice that is the life force that keeps this planet. We have procreated with this life force to 7.2 billion people on the planet. In these 2,000 years of what I call this Christian domination, we went from 300,000 to 7.2 billion. We have had a lot of intercourse, penetration, but have we had conscious fucking? Have we had sacred, divine, sexual relation? Have we really owned our pleasure? Have we fully tapped into our pleasure potential? This is the conversation I want us to have. And I invite you, please, who's ever on this call, what does that come up with you? How do you empower yourself right now as a sexual human being? Are you having the voice? This is what we haven't been taught. This is what we need to learn. So at 17, 18, 20, when we start to have sex, why are we doing it? What is the urges of the boy who wants to become the cock star in high school, the player? When a boy starts to be able to be a stud and is able to penetrate or allow a woman to open her legs to him. He gets validated. He gets, you know, a trophy. He gets, you know, in the locker room, he's the stud in the locker room, you know? And it doesn't really mean he has the biggest cock either. So what happens with boys? What is there shame around boys? You know, the only shame, you know, what is the shame that boys have to experience growing up? You know, either maybe you are 17 and you haven't had sex, and you're maybe a little bit shorter than the other guys on the team. Maybe you play soccer, or, you know, you play baseball, but you're not really the broadest one, the biggest one. And maybe in the locker room you get teased. You have kind of a girly body, and you don't really have your prowess. You don't really like that aggressive sexual energy of like, I want to score tonight. I'm going to get some pussy tonight. You know, these conversations that maybe us sisters haven't heard in the locker room, but I've heard. I've been that wallflower. I've been around enough around the bros. I've had enough male friends. Most of my life, I've had more friendship with men than I have with women. And I've had real relationships, friendships, where they tell me, and they are raw and real with me. And they don't play games of manipulation and control. And that's what this is happening in high school. We start to play these games, these manipulative games, where the 17-year-old boy who's a little feminine, the boys are like, okay, you got to give it up. You're a virgin, you're 17, you're 18, or college is worse. Freshman, imagine the 19-year-old freshman or sophomore in college who hasn't been laid. You have to get laid. You have to like be a man. So they go get the prostitute. They go get the whore, the escort. And that boy maybe isn't ready. Psychologically, he's not really ready. And that's perfectly human, and it's beautiful. When do we do things? And with sex, we often maybe haven't really tapped in to our own psychosis, to our own neurological blueprint that's connected to the sexual life force, to our spiritual, to our soul. Are we doing things that we're not really ready for? Are we saying yes when it's really a no? So he might go to that prostitute and he doesn't know what to do, and he knows he has the potential. He's had a wet dreams. And then all of a sudden he's penetrating. And he's fucking this girl who's like empty. She has to put the shield up. And not always. There is the bikinis. There is the women who are there, who are trained and who are temple priestesses to honor his wish and to teach him how to make love, how to learn to honor and make love and give pleasure. Because I love a man who knows how to make love to me, who owns his cock, owns his pleasure, knows how to take his pleasure, but speak his needs and his desires with clarity, without trying to dominate me, manipulate me, or own me. So this is the journey of awakened sex. When we reach that pivotal time in our life, high school to our 20s to about 25, where we're just exploring our sexuality, and it's new and exciting, but fucking confusing and scary. That's just like, it's a wild journey, a wild time. And what I want to offer to the world, and I want us to start to have, is the dialogue. What is the dialogue that we need? How do we begin to find a way to communicate these feelings, these urges, this desire in our body, so we can have the awareness, the conscious awareness, the mindfulness to speak our needs with clarity, to honor the other's needs, and not try to control or manipulate or dominate, but to have a union, a communion that's beautiful and harmonious, that feeds us. I want to have sex that feeds me. I say, don't just fuck me, don't just penetrate me, and go just to my physical, because I can do that. I can make love to myself better than anyone else can make love to me. I am my own best lover. But if you enter my temple, you enter me, I want you to penetrate my soul. That's what I need. So I want to play something for you. So this is take a moment and take that in. It's a lot. It's heavy. It's juicy. It's like, woo. There's a lot there. It's rich. What happened in the beginning of us, and how do we, especially me as an innie, I'm tired and I don't want any of my sisters or the next generations to be slut shamed. I'm saying no more. No more. Let's take a moment to listen to this.
The sacred whore holds embodied wisdom around the medicine of her sexuality and erotic power. It can be more than a desire of pleasure. It can be used for creativity and healing. The sacred whore welcomes the man back home into his heart. She gives safe space for the man to surrender and feel the rhythms that move his own body alive. She dedicates her work to the goddess, as that is where she's from. She is a daughter of the goddess herself. She is the awakened universe inside a woman's womb. Her throne lies at the end of the hall of the vaginal wall. As she begins to move and remember and awaken within the womb of one woman, she sees the necessity and awakening in all women. She dwells in the fullness of her worth. And welcomes only those into her who can properly bow to the gift and the blessing of her open welcome. Men and women fear her because her power is so utterly immense. Many women never come to know her. Men are desperately hungry for her, whether they know it or not. To see with her eyes and to remember her secrets is a journey not for the conditioned, but for the confrontational and most courageous of hearts.
Let's take a moment and place our hands on our heart, courageously soaking that in. In our humanity, our humanness. Our humanness goes beyond our gender, beyond our genitalia. Where it is, it's in our hearts. And that heart, it goes beyond borders. It goes beyond class and status. It goes beyond this matrix, this 3D, very, very masculine Western world that I am a part of and I grew up in. And what we want is an integrative, holistic, erotic awareness. We want our humanness to tap into our heart so we can share from that place. And that's what I'm doing for me. That's who I am. I'm sharing me. I'm sharing my vision. And so what I ask in this journey is for you to start to tap in to your sexual journey, to you as a human being. How have you owned your sex? How do you express your sexuality? And the biggest thing is what happens is when we're young, we have all this vitality. Men have more energy than they can fucking handle. How often, I know men who said they ejaculate 9 times in a day. I don't know how that's humanly possible. I would love to have 9 orgasms in a day. I used to more when I was in my 20s, but it's not a priority. But I had so much energy, so much life force. And what are we doing with that? How do we harness? What do we do? Where do we this energy go? Does it just go and build up in our genital, then it's an explosion? And we just release it, and then we get this like, okay, dopamine, I need more. This is addictive energy, this energy of like, okay, that was nice. I got in, I got relaxed. I got into spirit. I got into me. After sex is the glow, the bliss. We all love it. Orgasm is the power, this potential of orgasm, William Wright. He actually, if you go to the history, he was murdered for this wisdom, this power that he recognized, this organ machine. He recognized as humans this power that we can create. You know, we have life force, but then when you place arousal with life force, it's potent, it's magic, it's what creates the universe, created everything, and it's inside every human being. And this potential, this organ energy, this orgasmic energy is powerful. What are we doing with it? Do we do it to try to control and manipulate? Or do we do it to create conscious connection, expand our consciousness? So AwakenSex is about our evolution. It's about expanding our consciousness by awareness of this energy and how we direct it. So this part 4 journey was just a little taste for you to go back to maybe the first time you penetrated. If you were an outie, you know, was it with another man? Was it with a female? It doesn't matter. But this energy of penetrating, of action. What did I do? Where was my awareness? Where's my emotional body? Did I ask? Like that man who jumped on top of me when we had sex the first time. I was excited. I wanted him to be my boyfriend. I was open. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have sex with him. So yes, but I wasn't really clear why. But he never asked me. This is the thing. We haven't really asked permission. We haven't had the voice for a boy to come up to me, you know, in your 20s. Imagine that girls, you know, you're 20 years old, you're in college, you're a sophomore. Imagine if the cute boy you've always liked in computer class or whatever in English comes up to you and, you know, we call it the game. Instead of the hustle, the game to try to like, you know, he's on the prowl, he wants to get you. He's honest. He says, I find you very attractive. I really would just like to have a sexual relationship with you. Or I want to just touch your breast. Or can we just have dinner? And yeah, I'm interested in moving sexual energy with you. Wow, that would be an incredible conversation. I want us to start to come into that voice. And so in the next generation, the only way they'll have that voice is us right now sharing awareness of with our own voice. Who are we? How do we communicate with our lovers, our potential lovers, our intimate friends, our fuck buddies, our primary partners, our husbands, our wives? And the conversation, then teach that to have the hold space. That was last 2 weeks ago. How do you hold space for someone who's really confused with arousal and they're 14 and they don't know what to do with that? They don't know what to do with this energy. So we start to become aware of how do we direct this energy? What the potential, the intention we have with it, and the dialogue we have when we want to merge this energy with another human being. What do we do? And the idea of sexual violence comes from this place, and it scares me. It's ridiculous. Sexual aggression and sexual violence is because we're confused. We don't know what to do with this energy. So my invitation is we need to come mindful and aware and honor it. Instead of trying to like control it and deny it, let's accept it and embrace it and understand what we can do with it. This is the next journey. So next, the 2 weeks from now, and the next little voyage on this, and these are little, me just sharing these little vignettes, these little like moments of time on our timeline, on this sexual human timeline. We call it, what is your sexual human development of who you are? So the next stage is maybe in your 20s, you're exploring, you want to be a slut. You want to fuck everybody. You want to know who you like. I actually say be the biggest slut you can in your 20s. It's your opportunity to see what works for you. What doesn't? We don't know, and it's okay, but are we having the verbal dialogue? Are we having a true yes? Even if we open our legs, are we really aware as women why we're saying yes? But then in our 30s, when that potential now, I mean, the 20s, women, people get married in a lot of other places. In the States now, a lot of people getting more education, and so we're delaying marriage. We're delaying having children to our 30s. So what happens when we get married? We fall in love, and that changes everything. That term is an interesting one. We're going to explore that next time. What does it mean to fall in love? And then you have a divine communion. No longer just the physical. Spirit enters the bedroom, and you come into communion with somebody. You're in love, and you want the sanctity of your marriage. What does that mean? And I actually call marriage a sex contract, because that's what it is. It's a legal contract. A lot of places, a lot of countries, a lot of places, you're a whore, you're a slut, you can't marry, it's the wife. You have to marry the person that you're having sex with. You have to make her a holy woman, a right woman, whatever these words we use. So oftentimes we get married just to have continual sex. And it gives permission. Society says it's okay. The morality of society and our religion is you can have sex as long as in the sanctity of marriage. Then it's moral. But I say awaken sex is we define our own morality. We define who we are. That's what I'm asking, and this is where we are. How do we define who we are and our own morality? So next journey together is called Free Loveds. And that's my path with my new beloved. If Angel's still on the call, you can say, give a little love, a little note. I cannot read the comments. But Angel, I want you to just, Relate Awake for me is another platform with my beloved, is when you are in a lovership, when you like to have sex together, you're on this path of sacred connection, sacred union, commitment. How do you have freedom with that commitment? And it begins with a dialogue. It begins with saying, wow, I love you. I love to make love to you, make love with life with you. I want to share my life with you. I want to be your partner, and I want to be your lover. But I may want to love another human. I may want to have intimate connection, move sexual energy with another human. How can I do that with my voice? How can I do that with integrity? That's what Angel and I are working out. Well, we're figuring out how do we have this partnership, this love. We're beloveds, but we can have an open container to love other humans. That's what we're going to explore next time. And I'm just really honored, all of you, for being here. Share this recording, share this with your friends. This is a revolution. It's a sexual eco-revolution. We're building this renaissance. We're making sex become art. We're creating art with our sexual energy. And I say, check in. What are you doing with this energy? Thank you so much for joining me. I love you. My name is OnaRay. And that's my alchemy name. That's my female masculine name, feminine masculine name. I invite you to join my YouTube. This will be there. I record all these. All my past recordings are on YouTube. AwakenSex. You can find it. It's very simple. Instagram, AwakenSex. Like my page. This will also be on my page, AwakenSex. I do retreats, events. I just taught two Tantra workshops since the last recording. One was in Arcata. It was about self-liberation. And it's about collective intimacy. And that's really where we are as humans in our humanness, is we realize we want to be more intimate. We want more intimacy, but we don't have to do it alone. And we don't have to do it with a monogamous pair bonding relationship. We can do it in a group. We can do it in a community. And I love that. And then I did one we did a self-pleasure workshop in Denver. And the self-pleasure workshop was how do we own our sex? And how do we explore pleasure beyond penetration? And foreplay for more play. And foreplay means to me just even petting my hair. I love my hair pet. That could be yummy foreplay. Or just spend an hour placing your hand. I invite any man, if you want a woman aroused, go slow, place your hand on her yoni, right above it, and don't do anything. Just hold space and let her ride it. Let her pulse it. Let her love it. And bringing the senses. So the workshop was about the senses of the chakras in the body. So I really want to share more about the path I do and who I am. And I'm so grateful to have you on this journey. Melissa is here. I love you, Melissa. So we had a pleasure plate. So I had a pleasure altar for my workshop. Melissa would love this. And we worked with the senses in the body. And we took really quality time and presence. Through heart sharing is you actually prepared as a receiver your own pleasure plate. So you pick the essential oils you want. The roses, we had flowers, we had chocolate and fruit. For smell, so we started with smell with the root. Then we did taste. We got blindfolded. That's the best part. When the man asks, or your partner asks you, may I blindfold you? And you remove your sight so you can really get embodied into your animal pleasure body. So that was so much fun. And then we did taste and all of it, and touch. And there's an alchemy of touch. And I also teach that workshop, Alchemy of Tantra Touch. So if you want to find out more about me and all the workshops I do all around the world, right now I'm here saying goodbye from Oaxaca, Mexico. Anita, thank you, Anita. I'm towards the end, but you can listen to the recording. So I'm saying my farewells, my love from Oaxaca. The next time I do this broadcast is I do it every 2 weeks, always at noon Pacific Standard Time. So in 2 more weeks, I will be in Guatemala. No, actually, I might still be. I'll be in Manzute on the Pacific coast. And then 2 weeks after that, I'll be in Guatemala. And when I started this is my journey. I'm a nomad, and this has been a crazy global life. So I started this journey and of these calls. Okay, I'm almost done. Angel's telling me I have to hang up. So anyways, I just wanted to share. I started the call in Sebastopol, California. Then I went to Arcata, Oregon. Then I went to Coronado. Then I went to, and now I'm here in Oaxaca. So I've been in 3 states and a new country. So thank you for joining me, everybody. I love you. Where's my thing? Awaken sex. Awaken into the power of your sexuality. Awaken into your heart. Share from your heart. Embracing all of who you are with honor and grace. Thank you.